Chapter 29 of How to Cook Fish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Chapter 29 14 Ways to Cook Salmon Trout. Fried salmon trout cutlets. Cut cutlets from a large salmon trout, dip in seasoned crumbs and sauté in hot fat. Serve with cream sauce. Boiled salmon trout. 1. Wrap the prepared and cleaned fish in mosquito netting, tie firmly, cover with cold, salted water, bring to the boil and boil slowly until done. Serve with any preferred sauce. Boiled salmon trout. 2. Prepare and clean a salmon trout, stuff with seasoned crumbs, and put on the grate in a fish kettle. Sprinkle with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg. Add a bunch of sweet herbs, a clove of garlic, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add enough claret to cover and simmer until done. Drain the fish, strain the liquid, thicken if desired, and serve the sauce separately. Boiled salmon trout. 3. Wrap a small cleaned fish in mosquito netting, sew up, and simmer in salted and acidulated water until tender. Take up carefully, remove the netting, garnish with lemon and parsley, and serve with egg or cream sauce. Boiled salmon trout. 4. Clean a salmon trout, stuff with seasoned crumbs, and put into a fish kettle with equal parts of white wine and stock or water to cover. Add a carrot, an onion, a bay leaf, and 2 or 3 beans of garlic. Cook the fish slowly. Drain and reduce the liquid by rapid boiling to 1 pint. Thicken with butter and flour, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked salmon trout. 1. Clean a salmon trout, stuff it with seasoned crumbs, and sew up. Put into a fish kettle with a quart of white wine, half a cupful of butter, a chopped onion, 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped parsley, a can of button mushrooms, and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Cover and cook in a moderate oven for an hour. Take up carefully, skin the fish, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Reduce the gravy by rapid boiling. Thicken with butter and flour cooked together, and serve in a gravy boat. Baked salmon trout. 2. Prepare and clean the fish, and put into a buttered baking pan with enough water to keep from burning. Bake slowly, basting as required with melted butter and hot water. Cook together 1 tablespoonful each of butter and flour, add a cupful of cream, and half a cupful of boiling water in which a bit of soda has been dissolved. Cook until thick, stirring constantly, and add 2 tablespoonfuls of melted butter and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Pour the sauce around the fish and serve. Baked salmon trout. 3. Have a large salmon trout cleaned and larded. Put into a buttered baking pan. Rub the fish with salt and pepper, and pour over a wineglassful of Madeira. Cover with buttered paper and bake, basting every 10 or 15 minutes with the liquid. Serve with any preferred sauce. Salmon trout à la Genoise. Prepare and clean a salmon trout, remove the backbone, stuff with seasoned crumbs, and put into a buttered pan with half a cupful of sherry, 2 cupfuls of stock, a bunch of parsley, a sliced onion, and salt, pepper, and sweet herbs to season. Cover with a buttered paper and cook slowly, basting often. Take up the fish, strain the liquid, and add enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with flour cooked in butter, add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, and lemon juice and anchovy essence to season. Serve the sauce separately. Salmon trout à la Hollandaise. Prepare and clean the salmon trout and cook in salted and acidulated water, seasoning with salt, pepper, and parsley. Drain and serve with a Hollandaise sauce to which chopped cooked oysters have been added. Salmon trout à la maître d'hôtel. Prepare and clean a salmon trout, split and broil, basting with oil if required. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Salmon trout à la Richelieu. Put a clean salmon trout into a baking dish with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season, and enough white wine to keep from burning. Cover with a buttered paper and bake, basting frequently with the liquid. Drain the fish and add enough white stock or oyster liquid to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with flour cooked in butter. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 4 eggs, beaten with the juice of a lemon. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Pickled salmon trout. Clean the fish thoroughly and cut into strips. Cover the bottom of a baking dish with sliced onion. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Cover with pieces of fish, add more onions, and cover with cold water. Made very acid with good vinegar. Add a few cloves, a bit of ginger root, and a pinch of allspice. Bake slowly until the fish is tender, and serve cold. Salmon trout with shrimp sauce. Prepare and clean a salmon trout and cook in salted and acidulated water to cover, adding a bunch of parsley. Drain and serve with shrimp sauce. End of chapter 29. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California for LibriVox. Spring 2007.
Warning. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Gesine. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 30. 20 Ways to Cook Sardines. Broiled sardines. 1. Broil a dozen large sardines on a double broiler. Lay on fingers of toast, garnish with lemon, and serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled sardines 2. Drain the fish and broil quickly on a double broiler. Serve on toast and garnish with lemon and parsley. Broiled sardines 3. Drain large sardines, broil, lay on fingers of hot buttered toast, sprinkle with grated Parmesan cheese, and brown in the oven. Broiled sardines on toast. Drain large sardines, skin carefully, broil on a double broiler, arrange on fingers of hot buttered toast, and pour over a tablespoonful of melted butter and a cupful of canned tomatoes. Boil slowly until tender, take up carefully, rub the sauce through a coarse sieve, bring to the boil, and add a cupful of cream beaten smooth with a tablespoonful of flour. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add a tablespoonful of minced parsley, pour over the fish and serve. Baked sardines. 1. Skin a dozen sardines and heat in the oven. Drain the oil from them, bring to the boil, add 1 cupful of water, a teaspoonful of Worcester sauce, and salt and pepper to season. Take from the fire and add the yolk of an egg beaten with a teaspoonful each of vinegar and made mustard. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve with toasted crackers. Baked sardines 2. Drain the oil from large sardines, roll in cracker dust, season with pepper and lemon juice, and brown in the oven. Serve with toasted crackers. Baked sardines 3. Drain and skin a dozen large sardines, put in the oven and keep warm. Bring the oil to a boil, add a teaspoonful of Worcester sauce and a teaspoonful of tomato catsup. Arrange the fish on fingers of buttered toast, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked sardines 4. Marinate drained sardines in lemon juice, then drain, sprinkle with cracker crumbs, and put into a hot oven for 10 minutes. Cook together a heaping teaspoonful each of butter and flour, add 1 cupful of tomato juice, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, grated onion, and sugar. Arrange the sardines on toasted strips of brown bread. Pour the sauce over and serve. Fried sardines. Drain large sardines, dip in egg and crumbs, fry and serve on toast. Curried sardines 1. Rub to a paste 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 teaspoonful each of French mustard and curry powder, using lemon juice to make smooth. Drain and skin large sardines, spread with the paste, broil, and serve on toast with a border of broiled tomatoes. Curried sardines 2. Mix together a teaspoonful each of sugar and curry powder, add a cupful of cream and the juice of half a lemon, bring to the boiling point, add a dozen sardines, and heat thoroughly. Serve on toast with fried apple and sliced fried onion. Deviled sardines. Skin, split, and bone a dozen sardines. Season with salt, pepper, lemon juice, and made mustard. Let stand for an hour in the seasoning. Broil and serve on toast, garnishing with lemon and parsley. Sardines à la maître d'hôtel. Skin large sardines, arrange on fingers of buttered toast, and heat in the oven. Add to 1 cupful of cream sauce a tablespoon of grated onion, a teaspoonful of minced parsley, salt and pepper to season, and a tablespoonful of vinegar. Pour over the fish and serve. Sardines à la Piedmont. Skin a dozen sardines and put in the oven to heat. Put into a saucepan the yolks of 4 eggs well beaten with 1 teaspoonful each of malt vinegar, tarragon vinegar, and made mustard. Add a pinch of salt and a tablespoonful of butter. Stir until thick, but do not boil. Put the sardines on circles of fried or toasted bread, pour the sauce over, and serve. Stuffed sardines. Drain the oil from large sardines, skin and bone them, and stuff with chopped mushrooms, fine herbs, and breadcrumbs, made smooth with brown stock. Wrap in buttered paper, heat thoroughly in the oven, unwrap carefully, and serve on a hot dish. Sardine salad. Drain a dozen large sardines, remove the skin and bone, and lay upon a bed of lettuce leaves. Sprinkle with hard-boiled eggs, chopped fine. Pour over a French dressing and serve with toasted crackers. Sardines and crusts. Scoop out the crumbs from stale French rolls and toast or fry in deep fat. Cook together a tablespoonful each of butter and flour, add a little boiling water and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with anchovy paste and Worcester sauce, and add drained and flaked sardines. Reheat, fill in the shells, fit on the covers, and serve with quarters of lemon. Sardine canapés. Skin, bone, and mash sardines. Rub to a smooth paste, using melted butter and lemon juice, and seasoning with salt and Tabasco sauce. Toast small triangles of crustless bread, butter them, spread with the sardine mixture, heat thoroughly in the oven, and serve piping hot as a first course at dinner or luncheon. Sardine in egg cups. Cut hard-boiled eggs in half crosswise, and take out the yolks. Cut a thin slice off the bottom of each cup. Rub the yolks to a smooth paste with olive oil, and add half a dozen sardines skinned, boned, and mashed. Season with salt, pepper, mustard, and lemon juice, fill the egg cups, and serve on lettuce leaves with French or mayonnaise dressing. Sardine egg cups à la Béarnaise. Prepare according to directions given in the preceding recipe. Heat in a double boiler or in the oven, being careful to keep dry. Pour over a Béarnaise sauce and serve hot. Sardines à la Cambridge. Boil and chop a peck of spinach. Add 1 cupful of fresh breadcrumbs and 4 tablespoonfuls of melted butter. Mix thoroughly and add a dozen skinned and boned sardines pounded to a paste. Heat thoroughly, adding stock of water if needed. Put on a platter, shape into a mound, lay sardines on top, and garnish with sliced hard-boiled eggs and lemon. Sardine rarebit. Toast strips of bread, lay a broiled sardine on each, and keep warm. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 2 tablespoonfuls of grated cheese, and gradually, as the cheese melts, the yolk of an egg beaten smooth with 1/4 of a cupful of cream. When smooth and thick, season with salt and Tabasco sauce. Pour over the sardines and serve. Garnish with lemon and parsley. End of section 30. Recorded by Gesine in May 2007.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green, Section 31. 95 Ways to Cook Shad. Broiled shad. 1. Prepare and clean the fish, split and remove the backbone. Season with salt and pepper, dip in oil, broil carefully, and serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled shad. 2. Marinate the prepared fish for an hour in olive oil, season with salt, pepper, minced onion, and parsley. Drain and broil, basting with the oil as required. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. The onion and parsley may be omitted from the seasoning. Broiled shad. 3. Clean the shad, split, remove the backbone, and marinate for an hour in oil and lemon juice, seasoning with salt and pepper. Drain, sprinkle with crumbs, and broil carefully. Serve with fine herbs sauce. Broiled shad. 4. Prepare, clean, and split the fish. Put on a platter skin side down and sprinkle with sugar, pepper, and salt. Let stand overnight, broil, and serve with melted butter. Baked shad. 1. Bake a shad in a buttered baking pan, adding enough boiling water to keep from burning. Baste while baking with melted butter and lemon juice, seasoning with pepper and salt. Cook together a tablespoonful each of butter and flour until brown. Add slowly a cupful of stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with the juice of half a lemon. Pour over the fish and serve. Baked shad 2. Clean a large fish and stuff with seasoned crumbs mixed with minced parsley, adding enough melted butter to make a smooth paste. Score one side of the fish deeply and lay a small strip of salt pork in each gash. Put the fish in a buttered baking dish, sprinkle with salt, pepper, and flour, and add enough boiling water to keep from burning. Baste as required with the drippings, adding more boiling water if necessary. Serve with Hollandaise sauce or drawn butter sauce to which the mashed roe has been added. Baked shad 3. Stuff a fish with seasoned crumbs made smooth with melted butter. Season the fish with salt and pepper and cover with thin slices of breakfast bacon. Bake until well done, basting with melted butter and hot water. Add a teaspoonful each of lemon juice and anchovy essence to the gravy remaining in the pan and thicken with flour browned in butter. Serve the sauce separately. Baked shad 4. Stuff a large fish with seasoned crumbs, adding chopped onion and melted butter to taste. Sew up the fish and put it into a buttered baking pan with a cupful of salted boiling water and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Dredge with flour and bake, basting with the drippings. Take up the fish carefully and thicken the gravy with 2 tablespoonfuls of flour browned in butter and made smooth with a little cold water. Add a cupful of stock or water, the juice of a lemon, and Worcestershire sauce and kitchen bouquet to season. Strain through a sieve and serve with the fish. Baked shad 5. Stuff the cleaned fish with seasoned crumbs made very rich with melted butter. Wrap in a large sheet of buttered paper, fastening it securely, and bake in a moderate oven. Remove the paper carefully and serve with any preferred sauce. Baked shad 6. Leave the head on. Make a stuffing of breadcrumbs, cold ham or bacon minced fine, sweet marjoram, pepper, salt, mace or ground cloves, and a raw egg or 2 if necessary to bind. Put the fish into a deep buttered baking pan, fastening its tail in its mouth. Put into the pan enough water to cover, add half a cupful of port or claret, and a tablespoonful of butter rolled in flour. Baste frequently with the gravy and bake until done. Pour the gravy over and serve. Baked shad 7. Prepare a stuffing of 2 cupfuls of breadcrumbs, the beaten yolk of an egg, a tablespoonful of powdered sweet herbs, a tablespoonful of chopped onion, a teaspoonful of lemon juice and salt, pepper, Worcester sauce, and powdered cloves to season. Stuff and sew up a prepared shad, lay on a buttered baking pan, cover with slices of salt pork, dredge with flour, season with salt and pepper, and bake, basting with hot water and melted butter as required. Serve with Hollandaise sauce. Baked shad 8. Clean a shad and stuff with seasoned crumbs mixed with beaten eggs. Cover a buttered dish with sliced raw potatoes. Lay the shad upon it. Add enough stock or water to keep from burning and bake. Serve with any preferred sauce. Baked shad 9. Stuff the fish with cracker crumbs mixed with minced parsley, capers, and lemon juice, seasoning with salt and pepper and adding enough melted butter to make a smooth paste. Put the fish in a buttered baking pan, rub with butter, dredge with flour, and add enough boiling water to keep from burning. Baste every 10 minutes with the gravy in the pan and melted butter, dredging lightly after each basting with seasoned flour. Serve with brown sauce. Baked shad 10. Trim and clean a small shad, put it into a buttered baking dish, seasoning with salt, pepper, minced onion, and half a cupful of white wine. Add water or stock if necessary to keep from burning. Cover with buttered paper and bake for half an hour. Prepare a cupful of allemande sauce and add to it the liquid drained from the fish and a little chopped cooked spinach. Strain over the fish and serve. Shad baked in milk. Clean a large roe shad, saving the roe and removing the backbone. Soak stale bread in cold water and squeeze dry. Chop a large onion fine and fry in butter. Add the bread and salt, pepper, parsley, and sage to season. Cook thoroughly, take from the fire, and add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Stuff the fish, sew up, rub with salt, and put in a buttered baking pan with thin slices of salt pork or bacon to cover the top. Fill the pan with sweet milk, leaving only the pork exposed. Bake slowly, basting often. Take up the fish carefully, strain the liquor, thicken with butter and flour, and serve separately. Fry the roe in butter, cut in slices, and garnish the fish with it. Baked shad à la Virginia. Clean the fish and stuff with seasoned crumbs made very rich with melted butter. Put in a baking pan with enough boiling water to keep it from burning, and bake until done, basting with melted butter and the liquid in the pan. Take up the fish carefully and keep warm. Thicken the gravy with a tablespoonful of flour browned in butter and mix smooth with cold water. Season with catsup, lemon juice, sherry, or Madeira. Serve the sauce separately. Baked shad à la Carolina. Clean a large roe shad, leaving the head on. Take out the backbone and stuff with the boiled roe chopped, 6 chopped hard-boiled eggs, half a cupful of breadcrumbs, a chopped onion, a tablespoonful of butter and salt, pepper, and minced parsley to season. Stuff the fish, sew up, and put in a buttered baking pan, adding enough hot water to keep from burning, 3 or 4 slices of bacon, and salt and pepper to season. Baste often and serve with tartar sauce. Baked shad with fine herbs. Sprinkle a buttered baking dish with chopped onion and parsley. Lay the prepared fish upon it and sprinkle with onion and parsley, seasoning with salt, pepper, and dots of butter. Add half a cupful of white wine and a cupful of white stock. Cover with a buttered paper and bake in a moderate oven. Take up the fish carefully and thicken the gravy with flour cooked in butter. Pour the sauce over the fish, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Squeeze the juice of a lemon over and serve. Baked shad stuffed with oysters. Rub a large cleaned fish with salt inside and out. Stuff with oysters and seasoned crumbs made very rich with melted butter, and bake, basting with melted butter and hot water. Thicken the gravy with flour browned in butter, adding a little hot water or stock if necessary. Season with lemon juice and catsup and serve the sauce separately. Stuffed shad 1. Make a stuffing of 2 cupfuls of breadcrumbs, half a cupful of tomatoes, an onion chopped fine, half a cupful of melted butter, and salt and pepper to season. Stuff the fish, sew up, rub with butter, season with salt and pepper, dredge with flour, and bake for an hour, basting often with melted butter and hot water. Serve with tomato sauce. Stuffed shad 2. Season a cupful of cracker crumbs with grated onion, minced capers and parsley. Add a heaping tablespoonful of butter and salt and pepper to season. Or fry a small chopped onion in butter. Add a cupful of crumbs, season with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Take from the fire and add the yolk of an egg beaten smooth with a little milk. Stuff the cleaned shad and sew up. Cover the bottom of a baking dish with thin slices of salt pork. Lay the fish upon it. Cover with more pork. Add enough boiling water to keep from burning, and bake, basting frequently. For the sauce, melt half a cupful of butter and add to it the juice of half a lemon and 3 tablespoonfuls of claret. Serve the sauce separately. Stuffed shad 3. Prepare a shad as for boiling and stuff with seasoned crumbs, adding the beaten yolk of an egg to bind. Fill the fish and sew up. Put into a baking pan enough water or stock to keep from burning and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Bake carefully, basting as required. Take up the fish and add to the liquid enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with flour browned in butter. Season with lemon juice, catsup, and sherry or Madeira. Pour around the fish and serve. Roasted shad. Marinate the cleaned fish for an hour in oil and lemon juice, seasoning with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and thyme. Drain, wrap in oiled paper, fastening securely, and bake carefully. Take up the fish and serve with ravigote sauce. Toasted shad. Put into a baking pan a tablespoonful of butter and lay a cleaned and split shad upon it, skin side up. Place it under a gas flame until the skin is puffed and blistered. Turn out on a hot platter, season with salt and pepper, dot with butter, and serve garnished with lemon and parsley. Planked shad 1. Prepare the fish as for boiling. Butter the plank and tack the fish upon it, skin side down. Season the fish with salt, pepper, and butter, and bake it in the oven. Serve on the plank. Planked shad 2. Split the shad as for broiling and tack it on a buttered fish plank, skin side down. Rub with melted butter and cook under a gas flame or in the oven. Season with salt, pepper, and melted butter. Surround with a border of mashed potatoes. Garnish with lemon and parsley and serve on the plank. Planked shad 3. Tack the split fish on a buttered board, flesh side up. Put into the oven and bake until brown, basting with melted butter, season with walnut catsup. Serve with a garnish of pickled walnuts. Planked shad 4. Tack a large split shad skin side down on a buttered plank. Spread with butter, season with salt and pepper, and pour over a tablespoonful of walnut catsup or white wine. Cook under a gas flame, sprinkle with minced parsley, and serve with any preferred sauce. Panned shad. Split the fish down the back, remove the backbone, and put it into a buttered baking pan, flesh side up. Rub with butter, sprinkle with salt and pepper, and bake it in the oven. Garnish with lemon and parsley, and serve with any preferred sauce. Stewed shad. Prepare and clean a small shad and soak it for 2 or 3 hours in a marinade of oil and lemon juice seasoned with onion and parsley. Put it in a buttered stew pan with half a wineglassful of white wine, 3 tablespoonfuls of mushroom liquor, 4 sprigs of parsley, a sprig of celery, a bay leaf, a sprig of thyme, and 2 cloves. Add 2 handfuls of picked and washed sorrel or spinach, chopped fine. Season with salt and pepper and simmer slowly for 2 hours. Take up the fish, thicken the gravy with butter and flour cooked together, pour over the fish, and serve. Pickled shad 1. Boil a shad in salted water to cover, drain, and cool. Add to the water in which it was boiled half as much vinegar and a red pepper pod, whole cloves, allspice, and mace to season. Boil for an hour. Cut the fish into large pieces, put into an earthen jar, and pour the boiling spiced liquid over the fish. Cover and let stand for 2 days before using. Pickled shad 2. Cut a large shad into pieces, put a layer in the bottom of an earthen crock, sprinkle with salt, and add a few whole cloves, allspice, peppers, and bay leaves. Cover with fish, add more spices, and pour on strong vinegar to cover. Cover the dish, bake for 4 hours in a moderate oven, and let stand for 3 or 4 days before using. Serve cold. Creamed shad. Cook together a tablespoonful each of butter and flour, add 2 cupfuls of milk, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add a teaspoonful of grated onion, take from the fire, and add the beaten yolks of 2 eggs, and salt, pepper, and minced parsley to season. Add 2 cupfuls of cold cooked shad flaked fine, put into a buttered baking dish, sprinkle with crumbs, and brown in the oven. Shad vert pré. Prepare and clean a small shad and put into a buttered baking dish with salt and pepper to season, 2 finely chopped shallots, and half a wineglassful of white wine. Cover with buttered paper and bake in a moderate oven. Take up the fish, add the juice to a cupful of Allemande sauce, and tint green with minced parsley and spinach juice. Pour over the fish and serve. Broiled shad roe 1. Soak 2 shad roes for 20 minutes in a seasoned olive oil, drain, and broil. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled shad roe 2. Wash and dry the roe and broil on a well-greased broiler, rubbing with butter while broiling. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled shad roe 3. Parboil a large shad roe, drain, Rub with melted butter and broil. Serve with Maître d'Hôtel sauce. Broil shad roe 4. Parboil the roe for 10 minutes in salted water, drain and plunge into ice water for 10 minutes. Wipe dry and put on ice for half an hour. Rub with oil and lemon juice, broil, and serve with Maître d'Hôtel sauce. Broiled shad roe 5. Wash a shad's roe in cold water, wipe it dry, rub with butter, and broil. Garnish with lemon and parsley. Broiled shad roe with bacon. Marinate the roe in seasoned oil, broil carefully, surround with slices of broiled bacon, and serve with Maître d'Hôtel sauce. Fried shad roe 1. Sauté in hot lard, turning carefully. Garnish with lemon and parsley. Fried shad roe 2. Season the roes with salt and pepper, dredge with flour, dip in beaten egg, then in crumbs, and fry in fat to cover. Drain and serve with tomato sauce. Fried shad roe 3. Parboil the roe in salted water, drain, plunge into cold water, and let stand for 10 minutes. Drain, wipe dry, cut in half-inch slices, dip in seasoned lemon juice, then in beaten egg, then in crumbs, and fry in fat to cover. Fried shad roe 4. Parboil the roe, drain and cool. Dredged with seasoned flour and sauté in butter. Fried shad roe 5. Parboil the roe for 10 minutes in salted and acidulated water. Drain, plunge into cold water and cool. Drain, dip in beaten egg, then in seasoned crumbs, and fry brown in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried shad roe 6. Season the roe, dip it in cornmeal and sauté in butter or lard. Or parboil, cool, season, dip in beaten egg, then in cracker crumbs and sauté in butter or lard. Baked shad roe 1. Butter a baking dish and sprinkle thickly with chopped onion, parsley, and mushrooms. Lay the roes upon it, sprinkle with more onion, parsley, and mushrooms, season with salt and pepper, and dot with butter. Add half a cupful of white wine and 1 cupful of white stock. Bake carefully, basting as required. Drain, thicken the gravy with flour cooked in butter, pour over the roes, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Squeeze lemon juice over and serve. Baked shad roe 2. Boil the shad roe slowly until done. Drain and put into a buttered baking dish. Season with salt and pepper, spread with butter, and dredge thickly with flour. Bake in a moderate oven, basting frequently with melted butter and hot water. Baked shad roe 3. Cover the roe from a large shad with boiling water and drain. Put into a buttered baking pan with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 cupful of stock, and salt and paprika to season. Bake slowly until done. Strain the liquid and thicken with the yolks of 3 eggs beaten with 1 cupful of cream. pour over the sauce, and serve with thin slices of broiled bacon. Baked shad roe 4. Lay the roe in a buttered baking pan, season, add a little milk, and bake about 15 minutes, basting often. Take up, sprinkle with lemon juice, salt, cayenne, and minced parsley, and pour over a cream sauce to which the yolks of 2 well-beaten eggs have been added. Baked shad roe 5. Butter a baking dish, put in 2 shad roes, season with salt and pepper, and add half a cupful of white wine. Bake carefully, basting as required. Chop an onion, 2 sprigs of parsley, and 10 mushrooms. Fry in butter, add the liquid drained from the fish, and thicken with a little flour rubbed smooth in cold water. Spread the paste upon the roe, cover with large fresh mushrooms, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Serve immediately in the same dish. Baked shad roe 6. Butter an earthen dish and sprinkle with chopped onion, parsley, mushrooms, and breadcrumbs. Lay 2 skinned shad roes upon it, cover with crumbs, mushrooms, minced onion, and parsley, and pour over 1 cupful of white stock mixed with a tablespoonful of sherry. Bake for half an hour, drain off the sauce, strain it, and thicken with flour and butter cooked together. Pour over the fish, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, sprinkle with lemon juice, and brown in the oven. Shad roe baked with bacon. Cover the bottom of a baking pan with thin slices of bacon, lay the shad roes upon it, cover with bacon, and bake in a very hot oven. Squeeze lemon juice over and serve with bacon as a garnish. Shad roe baked in tomato sauce. Boil the roe, drain, cool, and skin. Cook together for 10 minutes 1 cupful of canned tomatoes, 1 cupful of stock or water, a slice of onion, and salt and pepper to season. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 1 of flour, add the tomato, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Rub the sauce through a strainer. Put the roe on a buttered baking dish, season with salt and pepper, cover with the sauce, and bake. Serve in the dish in which it was baked. Shad roe baked with cream sauce. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in butter and add 2 cupfuls of milk and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper and continue according to directions given for shad roe baked in tomato sauce. Escalloped shad roe 1. Boil the roes in salted and acidulated water, drain, and flake with a fork. Spread a layer of the roe in a shallow buttered baking dish, sprinkle with chopped hard-boiled eggs, season with minced parsley and lemon juice, add a thin layer of cream sauce, and repeat. Cover with buttered crumbs and bake brown. Escalloped shad roe 2. Prepare according to directions given above, sprinkling crumbs on each layer of cream sauce and adding grated cheese to the crumbs on top. Escalloped shad roe 3. Boil the roes in salted and acidulated water, plunge into cold water, cool, drain, wipe dry, and mash. Add the chopped yolks of 3 hard-boiled eggs to a cupful of well-seasoned drawn butter sauce. Mix the sauce with the roes. Butter a baking dish, sprinkle with seasoned crumbs, add the roe mixture, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Escalloped shad roe 4. Parboil in salted water the roes of 2 shad, drain, plunge into ice water for 10 minutes, drain, wipe dry, and flake with a fork. Add the yolks of 3 hard-boiled eggs rubbed smooth with a teaspoonful of anchovy paste and the juice of half a lemon. Add also 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, salt, cayenne, and minced parsley to season, and 1 cupful of drawn butter sauce. Butter a baking pan, sprinkle with crumbs, fill with the mixture, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Shad roe croquettes 1. Boil the roe for 15 minutes in salted water, drain, and mash. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and cornstarch. Add 2 cupfuls of hot cream and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the mashed roe and salt, cayenne, grated nutmeg, and lemon juice to season. Cool, shape into croquettes, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Shad roe croquettes 2. Simmer shad roes in salted boiling water for 15 minutes, drain, and plunge into cold water. When cold, drain, dry, cut into slices 2 inches thick, season with salt, pepper, and lemon juice, dip in egg, roll in crumbs, fry in deep fat, and serve with tartar sauce. Shad roe croquettes 3. Boil the roe, cool, skin, and mash fine. Cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour, and 1/2 cupful of cream and 1/2 cupful of stock. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 well-beaten eggs and the mashed roe, and cool. Season with salt, pepper, lemon juice, and minced parsley, shape into croquettes, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with hollandaise sauce. Shad roe croquettes 4. Parboil 2 shad roes, drain, cool, skin, and mash. Cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour. Add 1 cupful of boiling cream or milk and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the beaten yolks of 2 eggs and minced parsley, lemon juice, grated nutmeg, salt, pepper, and cayenne to taste. Reheat, stir until thick, add the mashed shad roe, mix thoroughly, and cool. Shape into croquettes, dip in egg and crumbs, fry in deep fat, and serve with tartar sauce. Shad roe croquettes 5. Cook the roe in boiling salted and acidulated water for 15 minutes, drain, and mash. Beat together 1/4 cupful each of cornstarch and butter. Add 1 1/2 cupfuls of hot cream and cook for 10 minutes, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the juice of half a lemon, a grating of nutmeg, salt, and paprika to season, the mashed roe, and a few chopped mushrooms fried. Cool, shape into croquettes, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Shad roe croquettes 6. Simmer 2 shad roes in salted boiling water for 15 minutes. Take from the fire, drain, skin, and mash. Cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour. Add gradually 1 cupful of boiling cream and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs, the mashed roe, 1 tablespoonful each of lemon juice and minced parsley, and salt, pepper, cayenne, and grated nutmeg to season. Cool, shape into croquettes, dip in egg and crumbs, and put into the icebox for an hour. Fry in deep fat and serve with tartar sauce. Shad roe croquettes 7. Boil the roe of a large shad until done. Drain, mash, and mix with half a cupful of breadcrumbs, a beaten egg, 2 tablespoonfuls of melted butter, and salt and paprika to season. Shape into small flat cakes and sauté in melted butter, or dip in egg and crumbs and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Shad roe croquettes 8. Parboil the roes in salted and acidulated water, drain and plunge into ice water to cool. Drain and flake with a fork. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour. Add a cupful of milk and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, season with salt and pepper, add the mashed roes and 2 eggs well beaten. Season with lemon juice and anchovy paste, reheat, but do not boil. Cool, shape into croquettes, dip in egg and cracker crumbs, and let stand for an hour before frying in deep fat. Shad roe à la Baltimore. Put 2 or 3 roes into a well-buttered baking dish, sprinkle with salt and pepper, add a cupful and a half of stock and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Cover and cook in the oven for 15 minutes. Take up the roe and add slowly to the liquid the yolks of 3 eggs beaten smooth with 1 cupful of cream. Cook over hot water until thick, adding 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and salt and pepper to season. Pour over the fish, garnish with broiled bacon, and serve. Shad roe à la Brooke. Parboil 2 shad roes, drain, cool, and skin. Put into a saucepan, cover with white wine, add a clove, a blade of mace, and salt to season. Simmer for half an hour. Wash and drain 2 cupfuls of scallops, put into a saucepan and cover with salted boiling water, adding a bit of bay leaf, 4 whole allspice, and 2 cloves. Cover the dish and boil for half an hour. Cook together 1 tablespoonful each of butter and flour. Add a cupful of the water in which the scallops were boiled and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper. Add a teaspoonful of minced garlic and gradually 3 tablespoonfuls of butter in small bits. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 3 eggs well beaten. Put the roe into a serving dish, cover with the scallops and freshly grated horseradish. Pour the sauce over, reheat, and serve. Shad roe à la maître d'hôtel. Marinate the roes for an hour in oil and lemon juice, seasoning with salt and pepper. Drain, broil, and serve with a maître d'hôtel sauce to which chopped onion has been added. Shad roe à la Maryland. Put 2 or 3 roes in a well-buttered baking pan, season with salt and pepper, add half a cupful each of stock and sherry, spread the roe with butter, cover, and bake for 15 minutes. Take up carefully and thicken the liquid with the yolks of 3 eggs beaten smooth with a cupful of cream. Take from the fire, add a tablespoonful of butter, pour over the roe, garnish with fried bacon, and serve. Panned shad roe. Boil a shad roe for 15 minutes in salted water, drain, and break up with a fork. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, add the shad roe with the yolks of 2 hard-boiled eggs mashed fine, a small cupful of breadcrumbs, and pepper, salt, and minced parsley to season. Reheat and serve very hot. Shad roes en brochette. Parboil shad roes for 15 minutes, drain, and plunge into cold water. When cool, cut into small pieces and roll in flour. String on slender skewers with alternate squares of bacon cut very thin and broil over a clear fire or cook in the oven until the bacon is crisp. The flour may be omitted. Serve with melted butter or maître d'hôtel sauce. Shad roe kromskis. Parboil a shad roe, drain, cool, skin, and cut into small pieces. Season with salt and pepper, wrap a thin slice of bacon around each piece and fasten with a toothpick. Fry in deep fat and serve with any preferred sauce. Shad roes with brown butter sauce. Boil the roes slowly in salted and acidulated water, drain, and pour over half a cupful of butter melted and browned and mixed with a tablespoonful of vinegar. Shad roe with mushrooms. Boil a shad roe, flake with a fork, and add an equal quantity of fresh or canned mushrooms cut in small pieces. Cook together a tablespoonful each of butter and flour and add half a cupful of cream mixed with the beaten yolks of 2 eggs. Mix with the mushrooms and roe. Fill ramekins, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Creamed shad roe with mushrooms. Parboil a shad roe, plunge into cold water, drain, cool, cut into squares, and sauté in butter until brown. Season with salt and pepper and add half a cupful of cooked mushrooms and 1 cupful of boiling cream. Thicken with a teaspoonful of flour rubbed smooth with a little cold cream, season with salt and red pepper, and serve very hot. Shad roe with eggs. Boil a shad roe and flake fine with a fork. Beat 3 eggs, season with salt and pepper, add the roe, and cook in a chafing dish or frying pan with plenty of melted butter. Shad roe with oysters. Fry the shad roe according to directions previously given and serve with fried oysters and broiled bacon. Shad roe with brown sauce. Soak a shad roe in water for half an hour, scald, drain, cool, and cut in slices. Sauté in butter and drain. Cook a tablespoonful of flour in the butter, add 1 cupful of stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, paprika, Worcestershire, and curry powder. Pour over the fish and serve. End of section 31.
LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Craig Cooksey. www.kiwivoice.com. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 32. 16 Ways to Cook Sheep's Head. Boiled sheep's head. Clean and salt the fish and soak in cold water for an hour. Drain, wipe dry, and cut several deep gashes across both sides. Put the fish on the drainer of the fish kettle, pour the juice of a lemon over it, and cover with equal parts of milk and water. Add salt and pepper and minced parsley to season and simmer gently until the fish is done. Drain carefully and serve the sauce separately, thickening if desired. Boiled sheep's head with oyster sauce. Boil a prepared and cleaned fish in salted and acidulated water with a bunch of parsley, a sliced onion, and some sweet herbs. Drain, garnish with parsley, and serve with a hollandaise sauce to which cooked oysters have been added. Broiled sheep's head. Prepare and clean a large sheep's head. Score the sides deeply and broil, seasoning with salt and pepper and basting with oil. Melt half a cupful of butter and add it to the juice of a lemon and 2 tablespoonfuls of anchovy essence. Pour over the fish and serve. Fried fillets of sheep's head. Prepare and clean the fish and cut in fillets. Dip into salted milk, then in flour, then in beaten egg, then in seasoned crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Sheep's head with caper sauce. Boil according to directions previously given and serve with caper sauce. Sheep's head with drawn butter. Clean a medium-sized fish. Rub with salt and pepper, steam for an hour. Take up carefully, garnish with parsley and lemon, and serve with drawn butter sauce. Sheep's head with parsley sauce. Cook the prepared and cleaned fish in salted and acidulated water to cover, drain, and serve with parsley sauce. Sheep's head a la Bahama. Prepare and clean a large sheep's head and remove the fins. Score deeply to the bone on both sides and put into a buttered fish pan with a chopped onion, a small bunch of parsley, 4 sliced tomatoes, and 4 chopped chili peppers. Add salt and pepper to season, 1 cupful of Catawba wine, and enough white stock to cover. Cover with a buttered paper and boil until done. Drain, strain the liquid through a coarse sieve, and add enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with flour cooked in butter. Take from the fire, add 2 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoonful of minced parsley, and the juice of half a lemon. Cover the fish with broiled tomatoes, pour the sauce around, and serve. Sheepshead a la Birmingham. Prepare and clean a large sheep's head and put into a buttered fish pan with 4 tablespoonfuls of butter, a bunch of parsley, a shredded green pepper, a chopped onion, 6 peeled and sliced tomatoes, 2 cupfuls each of white wine and water, and salt and paprika to season. Simmer until the fish is done. Drain and keep warm. Strain the liquid and thicken with flour browned in butter. Pour over the fish and serve with rice and baked green peppers. Sheepshead a la Caroline. Clean a sheepshead, cut off the fins and score to the bone on each side. Put into a buttered baking pan with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, a bunch of parsley, a small chopped onion, a shredded green pepper, and salt and pepper to season. Add 1 cupful of white wine and 2 cupfuls of water or white stock. Cover with buttered paper and bake in a moderate oven, basting often with the liquid. Take up the fish, strain the liquid, thicken with flour cooked in butter, take from the fire, add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, the juice of a lemon, and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Pour over the fish and serve. Sheepshead a la Creole. Chop together an onion, a green pepper, a tomato, 4 mushrooms, a clove of garlic, and a bunch of sweet herbs. Fry in olive oil, add a tablespoonful of flour and cook until the flour is brown. Add 1 cupful of beef stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Put 6 slices of sheepshead into a buttered baking pan, spread with the sauce, and bake slowly for an hour. Sheepshead a la Hollandaise. Prepare and clean a sheepshead, cover with salted and acidulated water, and simmer until done. Drain and serve with Hollandaise sauce. Sheepshead à l'Indienne. Cook a large sheepshead in a fish boiler, 2 cupfuls each of water and white wine, 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, 2 chopped onions, a chopped green pepper, a bunch of parsley, and salt, pepper, and sweet herbs to season. Cover with buttered paper, boil until done, and drain. Cook 3 tablespoonfuls of butter with 2 tablespoonfuls each of flour and curry powder, add the liquid drained from the fish, and enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Cook until thick, stirring constantly, and skim off the fat. Add 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and chutney sauce, take from the fire, add the juice of a lemon, pour over the fish, and serve with plain boiled rice. Sheepshead à la Louisiane. Prepare and clean a large sheepshead and put into a buttered baking dish with 2 sliced onions, a chopped green pepper, a cupful of stewed and strained tomatoes, 2 cupfuls of white wine, a bunch of parsley, a tablespoonful of butter, and salt and white pepper to season. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 40 minutes. Basting is necessary. When done, drain the fish and keep it warm. Strain the liquid and add enough brown stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with flour browned in butter, add the juice of a lemon and a little minced parsley. Pour over the fish and serve with a border of plain boiled rice. Sheepshead à la Majestic. Butter a baking pan and line it with sliced onions and tomatoes, sprinkled with salt, pepper, and minced parsley. Lay upon it a clean sheepshead weighing 3 pounds. Sprinkle with salt, pepper, and flour, and add enough stock and white wine to keep from burning. Baste as required and serve with the onions and tomatoes around the platter. Sheepshead à la Mobile. Prepare and clean a large fish and cut it into thin slices. Put it into a buttered saucepan with half a dozen sliced tomatoes, 2 sliced onions, a bunch of parsley, 2 bruised beans of garlic, and salt, paprika, and sweet herbs to season. Add equal parts of claret and white stock to cover. Cover with buttered paper, bring to the boil and simmer for 40 minutes. Drain, strain the sauce, thicken with flour browned in butter, take from the fire, add a tablespoonful of butter and the juice of a lemon, pour over the fish and serve. End of section 32. LibriVox recording, All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Craig Cooksey. www.kiwivoice.com. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 33. 9 Ways to Cook Skate. Fried skate. Prepare and clean the fish and cut into suitable pieces for serving. Dip in flour, then in egg, then in crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Boiled skate. Prepare and clean a small skate and cut into convenient pieces for serving. Put into a kettle an onion and a carrot sliced, a bunch of parsley, a sprig of thyme, 2 bay leaves, a tablespoonful each of salt and peppercorns, and half a cupful of vinegar. Put the fish on this, add cold water to cover, and boil slowly for 45 minutes. Drain, and serve with any preferred sauce. Boiled skate with black butter. Boil the skate until tender in salted and acidulated water to cover, with onion, thyme, parsley, bay leaves, and pepper to season. Drain the fish and pour over half a cupful of brown butter, to which a tablespoonful of vinegar has been added. Boiled skate with caper sauce. Cook the fish in salted and acidulated water to cover, adding a sliced onion, 2 bay leaves, and a bunch of parsley to the water, with salt and pepper to season. Drain, place on a hot dish, and serve with caper sauce. Boiled skate with oyster sauce. Boil the fish in salted and acidulated water to cover, drain, and serve with oyster sauce. Baked skate. Skin the fish and cut into suitable pieces for serving. Put into a buttered saucepan with the juice of half a lemon and a bunch of sweet herbs. Sprinkle with salt and pepper, dredge with flour, and pour in 2 cupfuls of milk. When nearly tender, drain, brown in the oven, thicken the sauce with butter and flour cooked together, pour around the fish, and serve. Skate with fine herbs. Butter a baking dish and put into it pieces of prepared skate. Sprinkle with chopped mushrooms, onion, and parsley. Season with salt and pepper, add 2 wineglassfuls of sherry and half a cupful of stock. Sprinkle with crumbs and bake. Take up the fish carefully and add to the liquid enough brown stock to make the required quantity of sauce. Thicken with butter and flour cooked together. Add a tablespoonful of butter, a teaspoonful of anchovy essence, and the juice of half a lemon. Pour around the fish and serve. Skate à l'Italienne. Put the prepared fish into a buttered saucepan with a bean of garlic, 1 bay leaf, 2 sprigs of thyme, a tablespoonful of butter, 3 cloves, and salt and pepper to season. Sprinkle with flour, cover the fish with milk, and simmer gently until done, then drain. Put into a serving dish, sprinkle with grated cheese, and garnish with boiled button onions and triangles of fried bread. Strain the sauce over and serve. Skate à la Royale. Parboil small pieces of skate, drain, cool, and marinate in oil and vinegar. Season with salt and pepper, drain, dip in batter, and fry. Serve with any preferred sauce.
End of section 33. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit librivox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Chapter 34. 35 Ways to Cook Smelts. Broiled Smelts 1. Dip prepared smelts in lemon juice and seasoned melted butter, then in flour. Broil in a double broiler and serve with remoulade sauce. Broiled Smelts 2. Draw and clean large smelts, dip in oil, season with salt and pepper, and broil on a double broiler. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled smelts 3. Split and bone large smelts, rub with seasoned oil and broil. Serve with béarnaise sauce. Broiled smelts 4. Soak the prepared fish for an hour in seasoned olive oil. Drain, broil carefully, and serve with maître d'hôtel sauce. Broiled smelts 5. Take off the heads, split the fish, remove the backbone, and broil for 5 minutes on a buttered broiler. Garnish with lemon and parsley, and serve with melted butter made very hot with red pepper. Broiled boned smelts à la béarnaise. Split a dozen good-sized smelts, take out the backbone, rubbed with seasoned oil, and broil on a double broiler. Pour béarnaise sauce into the platter, lay the smelts upon it, and serve. Broiled smelts with onion sauce. Clean 6 or 7 large smelts, dip in beaten egg, then into seasoned crumbs, and string on skewers by the heads. Broil, basting with melted butter as required. Fry 2 teaspoonfuls of chopped onion in butter, but do not brown. Take from the fire, add a teaspoonful of vinegar and an equal quantity of minced parsley. Pour into a bowl and put on ice until cool. When ready to serve, mix a tablespoonful and a half of fresh butter with the sauce and make it into small balls. Serve 1 ball of the butter with each fish. Baked smelts 1. Remove the heads, split, dip in melted butter, then in flour. Put into a buttered baking pan. Bake for 10 minutes. Sprinkle with cayenne and lemon juice and serve. Baked smelts 2. Put prepared smelts into a buttered baking dish. Sprinkle with chopped parsley and mushrooms, and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Pour over half a cupful of white wine, cover with the cream sauce, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake in the oven. Squeeze lemon juice over and serve in the baking dish. Baked smelts 3. Clean 18 or 20 smelts and put into a baking dish with 1 tablespoonful each of chopped onion and celery, a wineglassful of white wine, and salt and pepper to season. Cover with large fresh mushrooms and a cupful of Spanish sauce. Sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake in a hot oven. Sprinkle with parsley, squeeze lemon juice over, and serve. Baked smelts à la Duchelle. Put a dozen cleaned and prepared smelts into a buttered baking dish and sprinkle with chopped onion, parsley, mushrooms, salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg. Cover with drawn butter sauce, to which a wineglassful of white wine has been added. Sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake for 30 minutes. Squeeze lemon juice over and serve. Baked smelts à la Menton. Prepare according to the instructions given for baked smelts à la Duchelle, omitting the chopped onion and the wine from the sauce. Sprinkle with crumbs and grated Parmesan cheese. Dot with butter and brown in the oven. Squeeze the juice of a lemon over and serve. Fried smelts 1. Dip the prepared fish into seasoned melted butter, then into cornmeal, and fry in deep fat, or dip in beaten egg and cornmeal. Fried smelts 2. Clean the fish, season with salt and pepper, and sauté in hot fat, or dip in egg and crumbs and fry in deep fat. Fried smelts 3. Dredge the cleaned fish with flour, Dip in egg and crumbs and sauté in a frying pan with butter, or fry in deep fat. Fried smelts 4. Dip the cleaned smelts in cream, then in seasoned flour, and fry in fat to cover. Serve with tartar sauce. Fried smelts 5. Clean small smelts, season with salt and pepper, dip in egg and crumbs, and string on skewers, piercing the head with a skewer. Fry in deep fat and serve with mayonnaise or tartar sauce. Fried smelts 6. Clean the smelts, trim off the tails, and remove the backbone. Sprinkle with salt and pepper inside and out, and skewer into circles with toothpicks. Dip in egg and crumbs, fry in deep fat, and serve with tartar sauce. Fried smelts à l'anglaise. Dip the cleaned fish into cracker crumbs, then in beaten eggs, then in cracker crumbs, and fry brown in deep fat. Serve with tartar sauce. Fried smelts au beurre noir. Clean the smelts, season with salt and pepper, dip in cornmeal, then in beaten egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Drain and serve with brown butter sauce. If desired, the fish may be skewered in circles before frying. Fried smelts à la Parisienne. Wash the smelts, remove the bone, wipe dry, dredge with flour, put their tails in their mouths, fasten with a toothpick, and fry in very hot fat. Garnish with hard-boiled eggs and serve with tartar sauce. Fried smelts with salt pork. Clean the smelts, leaving them whole. Dip into fine crumbs or cornmeal. Cut half a pound of fat salt pork into dice and fry until crisp. Take up the pork, fry the fish in the fat, and drain on brown paper. Make a cream sauce, using the pork fat instead of butter. Add to it the diced pork, pour around the fish, and serve. Stuffed smelts 1. Stuff the cleaned fish with bread crumbs mixed with tomato and melted butter, seasoning with salt and pepper. Bake in a buttered pan and serve with any preferred sauce. Stuffed smelts 2. Stuff cleaned smelts with chopped oysters and seasoned crumbs. Roll in melted butter, then in crumbs, and bake for 15 minutes, basting with melted butter. The breading may be omitted if a more simple dish is desired. Serve with béarnaise sauce. Stuffed smelts 3. Cook to a paste 1 cupful of crumbs and 1 cupful of milk. Beat smooth, add 1 egg, well beaten, a teaspoonful each of minced parsley, lemon juice, and chopped olives, and 1 cupful of chopped oysters. Stuff large smelts, lay them in a pan lined with buttered paper, skewer the head and tail together, and fill the circles with stuffing. Steam for 15 minutes or sprinkle with crumbs and butter, and bake. Stuffed smelts à l'italienne. Prepare, clean, and split the smelts, stuff with seasoned crumbs, and arrange in a buttered baking dish. Cover with Italian sauce and bake. Squeeze lemon juice over and serve. Chopped oysters or cooked fish may be used with, or instead of, the crumbs. Stuffed smelts au gratin. Chop half a pound of raw fish, either sea bass or salmon, and pound in a mortar to make very fine. Add 2 tablespoonsful of breadcrumbs, which have been soaked in hot milk and squeezed dry. Add the yolks of 2 eggs and the white of 1, 2 tablespoonfuls of cream, and salt and pepper to season. Rub until very smooth, and fold in lastly 2 tablespoonfuls of whipped cream. Let cool thoroughly. Fry 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped onion in butter with 2 tablespoonfuls of minced parsley and 1/4 pound of chopped fresh mushrooms. Season with salt and pepper and set aside. Stuff the smelts with the fish paste. Butter a silver platter and spread it thinly with the fried onions and mushrooms. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of white wine and lay the fish upon it. Sprinkle with salt and pepper, spread with the rest of the onion and mushrooms, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Serve in the same dish. Smelts au gratin. Clean and dry 18 smelts. Fry together in butter a chopped onion, 2 shallots, twice the quantity of mushrooms, a minced bean of garlic, and a tablespoonful of minced parsley. Butter a baking dish, spread the cooked vegetables upon it, and lay upon it the prepared fish. Season with salt and pepper, moisten with half a glassful of white wine, cover with large fresh mushrooms, pour over a cupful of Spanish sauce, sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake in the oven. Sprinkle with lemon juice and minced parsley and serve. The smelts may be boned if desired. Smelts au beurre noir. Roll the cleaned smelts in flour, sauté in butter, and arrange on fingers of buttered toast. Brown half a cupful of butter, add a tablespoonful of vinegar, pour over the fish, and serve. Smelts à la boulangère. Clean and dry the fish, dip into cream, then into flour, and fry in deep fat. Smelts à la Davis. Prepare and clean the fish, remove the bone, dip in milk, season with salt and pepper, dip in flour, and brown in butter. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of peanut butter and add it to the juice of a lemon. Pour over the fish and serve, garnishing with lemon and parsley. Smelts à la Toulouse. Clean and bone a dozen large smelts. Cook in a saucepan with white wine and mushroom liquor or stock, seasoning with salt and pepper. Drain and add the remaining liquid to a cupful of Allemande sauce. Add a few button mushrooms and a tablespoonful of butter to the sauce. Pour over the smelts and serve. Smelts à la Dresden. Clean and remove the bone from large smelts and stuff them with seasoned crumbs, chopped oysters, and mushrooms rubbed to a paste with melted butter. Butter a serving dish, lay the prepared fish upon it, cover with chopped onion, and squeeze over the juice of a lemon. Add a tablespoonful of butter and a cupful of white stock and bake half an hour. Serve with any preferred sauce. Boiled smelts. Cook smelts in salted and acidulated water or in court bouillon. Drain and serve with tartar sauce. Smelts with mayonnaise. Dip the cleaned fish into beaten egg, then into crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve cold with mayonnaise. Stewed smelts. Clean the fish and remove the heads. Put into a buttered china baking dish. Add enough fish or veal stock to cover, and chopped onions, capers, parsley, thyme, pepper, and salt, and white wine to season. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and bake for 10 or 15 minutes. Serve in the same dish. Smelts with fine herbs. Chop together chives and parsley and sprinkle a buttered baking dish. Season with salt and pepper. Lay prepared smelts upon it. Sprinkle with chopped onions and seasoning. Add half a cupful of white wine. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 10 minutes. Take up carefully and Thicken the liquid with butter and flour cooked together, and serve with the fish. Smelt croquettes. Clean and split smelts and remove the backbone. Pound fine a pound of cooked halibut, season with salt, white pepper, and sherry. Add enough very thick cream sauce to make a stiff paste, and cool. Shape into croquettes and roll a smelt around each one, fastening it by sticking the tail through the head. Dip in egg and crumbs and fry in hot lard to cover. Serve with tartar sauce. Smelts in matelote. Chop together an onion, a sprig of parsley, 3 mushrooms, and a bean of garlic. Fry in oil and season with salt and pepper. Put the cleaned smelts into the pan, add enough white wine to cover, and simmer until done. Strain the liquid, thicken it with butter and flour cooked together, pour over the fish, and serve with a garnish of lemon and parsley. End of chapter 34. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California for LibriVox. Fall 2006.